Hello there, and welcome to the True Pop Culture 7 show. I'm your host, True Pop, here to laugh and think about pop culture stupidity. For today's show, we'll be breaking down all our thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse. Uh, Before we do that, we'll cover one little piece of news of Spider-Man info I'm deeply saddened to hear, but neither here or there. Let's introduce our guest first off. Mr. Berg, would you like to tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Hello, I am Mr. Bug. I make memes. I do videos occasionally. I have conversations and topics on superhero culture and products and whatnot. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Bug, and just happy to be here to talk about some good old Spider Man.
Yes, we talked a bunch about Spider-Man last week as well with the Spider-Man gameplay. So this is your third time on this show. So yeah, you're definitely looking up popular for a popular guest for the True Pop show. So as always, thank you for coming on, dude.
Yeah, happy to come on.
All right, let's get straight into the first bit of depressing news, should I say? And it's unfortunately it's this little piece of news. Uh, why is it not showing? Oh, is it because this? There we go. Dan Slott will return with a new Superior Spider-Man series this fall. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that?
Okay. I'll have to
'Cause,
say this. Um,
wait, before you give us your thoughts, this is my reaction.
right.
Why?
I think that sums it up perfectly, to be honest. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay, so I should probably establish this. I
hmm
think on paper, the concept of Superior Spider-Man is not actually terrible. Uh
hmm
I like the kind of idea of one of Peter's villains becoming the new Spider-Man, and it's kind of like they just seem to change and how they would handle things. You put them in that position and like what interesting scenarios you could get out of it, like especially with how they think. And with Otto, it's like, yeah, it's really interesting to see how that plays out and how like Otto's pride and arrogance kind of gets to him.
hmm
It's like what do you get when you put that in the role of a heroic spot? It works. The execution was kind of sloppy at best,
hmm
and honestly, it's funny that one of the most iconic moments of that is literally the end when it's just when Peter comes back.
hmm
And, it's like Goblin thinks he's like talking to Otto, but then Peter just starts using wit and banter, and then Goblin is just like horrified. He's like, it's you.
I can tell from that quirky little mouth of yours, you're the son of a bitch. Uh, yeah, definitely. But the thing is,
Yeah,
like, I- it's not. I'm not screaming "why" in the church as Sean Connery in there did because of the Superior Spider-Man story, but rather Dan Slott returning, and to put it bluntly, he's shit. He's a shit human being, and
he's a
I think he's
terrible,
terrible at his job too.
yeah, terrible person, god awful writer that just you don't want writing anymore because he's so lazy that even like other comic book writers just give him shit about it because he's just so lazy with his work. Like I
hmm
hated his stuff that he did with Fantastic Four and Franklin Richards, just all that.
hmm
And then like She-Hulk, the stuff he wrote was just god awful. Like Superior Spider-Man is probably like one of the only decent original interesting concepts, but even then that was just completely like ridiculous in a
mm
lot of places.
Why does
I don't
always
like.
Spider-Man get the worst writers?
I don't know. It must be a curse, but like
hmm
I don't have a problem with Superior Spider-Man maybe coming back. Albeit it's going to be a little convoluted with how they're going to bring it back because of the because I recall Otto had first he found like a cloning lab and he made himself a new body, and then he was running around as Superior uh,
Mhm.
Spider-Man or Superior Octopus at the time until like it got up to a point where he just reverted himself back to his normal, like slightly chunky body, and that's just what he's been ever since.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
what they're going to do to undo all that, I have no idea. I don't want Dan Slott in it. Dan Slott's in one of the top people I don't ever want to see write another comic book ever again. Like
Exactly.
it's Dan Slott, Zeb Wells, Jason Aaron, Teeny Howard. I don't want none of them
Hmm.
to ever write another book ever again.
What did Zeb
Just
Wells write, by the way? Like, as
he's
well, I'm forgetting something. He's writing something movie-wise, I think.
he's
Or I'm getting that wrong.
first he was a writer on the She-Hulk show,
Yeah, he was on She-Hulk, and I was just like,
and
ah,
they added him as a writer for Deadpool 3.
okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's troubling. Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking of Deadpool 3. Um, did you know, Thingy, he was also the writer, the Punisher writer.
Jason Aaron.
Yeah, I've been reading some comments on Twitter, and he apparently wrote Punisher Max series, and I remember that being really good. But there was another like crazy writer that wrote Punisher in like a crazy way, and just wanted to clarify: was that him or not? Was it? Well, am I thinking of someone else?
I think Punisher Max was written by a lot of different people.
Uh huh.
I think one of them was Garth Ennis, who
Yes, I was thinking of Gareth. There we go. Yeah, so that's not him. Okay, that's not the same
yeah,
thing.
and plus like Punisher Max was kind of like its own like split off from it wasn't in the same universe as the
Hmm.
616, and it allowed them to be like a little more R-rated with it, especially with like a lot of the stuff that they have Frank do in that book. You
Hmm.
know, like it was insane, like it was crazy stuff, and a lot of those stories were kind of used for inspiration for not only the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, but the Ray Stevenson Warzone.
Yeah, I just watched that movie, by the way. I think this week, and I don't think the plot is too strong, and I don't think Micro was used well in the
Yeah,
story.
no,
Like I always reckon
yeah.
Micro could be used more. But overall, I thought Ray Stevenson was absolutely great,
Oh
and
yeah,
a lot of great action in there.
yeah, it's
Rest
a
in peace as well.
yeah, rest in peace. Like it definitely like the plot isn't really the most
Mm,
greatest thing in the world, but you know there
mm,
are like some parts to that movie that really at least keep it going. It's like a lot of the
mm.
actors, you know, the Ray
Plus,
Stevenson's who,
they
yeah,
did a whole better Jigsaw than the Netflix Punisher series ever did, to be honest. So.
yeah, they were a lot more faithful to the story. And while I do like the Netflix Jigsaw's actor, and like I didn't
Mhm,
mind some of the changes, I kind of was a little annoyed with season two how they did go really heavy on the like
mhm,
facial disfigurement part because that
mhm,
kind of made it makes it like work, but you know,
mhm,
but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, Warzone, pretty good movie. Granted, the plot's a little iffy. Great
mhm,
action, you know, good acting there. Just it's all around a good movie to watch. You know, good movie to enjoy.
mhm. Definitely. Let's get on to the biggest meal of all. I guess what's the stream is all about. Uh, there's this little movie called what's it called again? Into the
Uh,
Spider Verse, Across, Beyond, Electric Boogaloo, Spider Verse. Who knows? Something Spider Verse. And yeah, I was entering this movie kind of mixed because I don't particularly like Miles.
yeah,
But then again, I do find the Into the Spider Verse movie um somewhat enjoyable and definitely of better quality than the most of the sludge we get. And I went into this movies, what, semi-mixed and well, overall, I thought this movie was good, but did I walk out of the movie liking Miles more? Not really. Did I walk out of it liking the Spider-Verse concept more? Not particularly. If anything, it made me a little uh, not positive towards the whole spider thing. I mean, there's so many of them here. Some of them, the cameos in here, I really liked, and some of them I found really dumb. Um, but again, and then again, well, I guess we'll definitely discuss all about it. We will be discussing somewhat spoilers, I guess. Although, know this, that we can't really spoil you the movie because this isn't a full film, essentially. Wouldn't you agree,
Yeah,
Mr.
no,
Berg?
yeah, no, you don't really get a full Philip. Like, yes, sure, it is labeled part one, but you're usually films tend to have a three-act structure, and you're building up to
Mhm.
the third act with this nice conflict that you could definitely have like a shock moment at the end and then call it a day, but you don't even get the final conflict, so kind of annoying. One of the
Mhm.
biggest parts I hated about the movie.
Mhm.
What
Um,
other?
did you enjoy
Uh,
it?
Well, I thought it was okay. It was like a 6, maybe a 5 out of 10. Like,
Mm.
I'll be honest. I was kind of I at first I was kind of excited to see the movie,
Mhm.
because compared to the comic books, Miles was actually way better because they just took one look at the comics and went, "Yeah, we're not doing that version of Miles," and they just did a
Yeah.
lot of changing, and it was kind of like lightning in a bottle. It
Mhm.
worked out for them, and it basically this version of Miles has been kind of hard carrying
Mhm.
anyone's respect or love to Miles Morales as a character in
Yeah.
any other media. Like that's
If
this
if
is the
you ask if you ask anyone why they like Miles, they will probably say, "Oh, I watched Into the Spider-Verse movies." None of them will say, "Oh, well, I read it in the comics and I really liked him." And after, no one will say that. And if they are saying that, they're lying.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
yeah, and like, uh, it's like I like the first movie a
Mhm.
lot. I rather enjoyed it. This one I was kind of looking forward to it because I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting." But then,
Mhm.
kind of more details started popping up. It was like,
Mhm.
something was getting a little weird. Like red flags were popping up, especially the freaking race swapped pregnant Jessica Drew. As soon
Mhm.
as I saw that, I was like,
Do you
I
know?
don't like that. I don't like that.
She's you can ignore her essentially in this movie, and I'm glad you can. Essentially, she doesn't provide that much to the movie, I
Not
guess.
really,
So,
but
so
it
I'm
just
glad about that.
it just
I like
feels
that.
like she's only in there just for like Twitter brownie points or something. It's
Hmm.
just like
Exactly.
it just it's just like holy crap, dude.
Yeah, maybe I reckon maybe it was like a Amy Pascal idea. She's kind of like the Kathleen Kennedy in Sony, or maybe Avi
Yeah,
Bard. I don't know who I'd give the Kathleen Kennedy award to in
I
Sony and Spider Verse. It's either Avi Bard or Amy Pascal, and I bet it was one of their ideas. Oh, let's put a pregnant Spider Woman in here. It'd be a brilliant idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the worst like Spider-Woman comics ever that everyone
Mm,
mocked. Let's incorporate that into live act into not live action into this movie,
mhm,
like because why? And it just makes no sense to me. It's like why would you do that?
mhm,
And it's like it gets stupider
mhm,
considering the first one of the first scenes in the movie, when they have Miguel and Gwen fighting that version of Vulture, and Miguel
mhm.
calls for backup, and this is
Yeah.
the one, and they send
And you
her,
call, yeah, yeah, that's stupid. That's really
it,
stupid.
which is stupid because like look at like we have all of these spider people in the background of this photo here that
Mhm.
they could have sent, and there's even more that you don't even see here that you see in the movie. It's like you had a spider T-Rex. Why the fuck did you send him
Mhm.
in?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
no, you sent the pregnant woman, and it's just like
Does she mention in the film that she's pregnant? Yes,
Yes,
Chapman, she does, and she mentions that she's 6 months pregnant.
I thought it was 5.
Was it 5? Maybe 6.
It
And
was
that
5 or
ballpark, 5 or 6 months pregnant.
6 months pregnant when she first appears and talks to Gwen. Then
Mm-hmm.
it's said that it's been a couple of months since
Oh,
that moment that they recruited Gwen into their
okay.
multiversal time cop thing. So this woman is practically ready to pop any second, and she's off running around doing like motorcycle stunts and shit. And it's just like, I'm sorry, that kid would be a 7-Eleven slushy,
Mm-hmm.
you
Is the
know?
seven? Why a 7-Eleven? All right. What's your reference there? Is that like a very chunky slushy essentially, or
I honestly I just said 7-Eleven slushy because like
like
7-Eleven is just a brand gas station in the
a,
United
a shitty
States.
one? Yeah.
It's
Uh.
just like a generic kind of gas station that has like little slushy machines, and that's just what it was.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
said 7-Eleven slushy because it just sounded funnier in my head.
Mhm. I mean, it's like I imagine it'd be like with the bit. I was just wondering. 7-Eleven. Is there something particular about them that looks like
Not not
that looks
really.
like shaken baby essentially? Oh dear God. Yeah. Might
It's
find a foot in
just
there. Um.
yeah,
Stupid.
it's so stupid, but like, yeah, she's not really a you could kind of cut her from the movie
Yeah.
entirely, and you don't really miss anything. Like, at
Mm.
best, all you got is she's like the. I'm assuming the way they make it look, it's like she's meant to be like Miguel's like second in command or like a
Mhm.
close lieutenant,
Mhm.
and she's also kind of like the supervisor slash sort of mentor to Gwen in a sense. Like,
Definitely.
although the scenes that are given with her to like demonstrate that don't really mean a whole lot. Like, you can kind of just cut that off. Really, like, it's only near like the tail end of the movie that it
Mhm.
kind of matters.
Yeah.
You know,
Um.
uh,
Something I wanted to bring up about the whole Spider-Verse thing. 'Cause I know in the comics, it was more to do with Madame Web kind of magical stuff with the Morlun family as well. Um, they definitely went like with Miguel and futuristic kind of stuff. Do you reckon it would have been better to do it the other way, or what do you think about that? Um,
I think the the thing about that other that the comic one, which was like
mhm,
it was meant to be kind of like all the spiders were getting hunted down, and they sort of just banded together just because it was more like just strength in numbers
mhm,
type thing, and like to that was sort of it. It was just more like preservation of themselves and their worlds.
mhm,
Here, it's more like they do the team up thing to kind of like be a multiversal like a cop organization to like keep things intact and like going, because the way they set up the multiverse is like, if you are not from another if you're not from that world, if you go into another one and you're not wearing like the special wrist bracelet that makes you not like destroy the fabric of reality just by being there,
mhm,
things are going to get ugly. Which is like, honestly, it's a little it's kind of shocking to me that that's a thing still, because it used to be that they do that. It used to be just like, oh, I'm from like Earth 25, I'm on Earth 5, and nothing changes. Like, it's
mhm.
not like a big threat.
It's definitely like a interesting limitation, but that limitation is in the long run useless because we've got magic bracelets essentially to solve it.
Well, I think, well, yeah, but it also like makes things I guess it's a logical step to
Mhm,
have that, so that way you're not always like glitzing out, but it also adds a little more risk to it because,
mhm,
and I guess it also helps that it's consistent with the first film, because that was kind of the point. Like,
mhm,
a sense of urgency to the first film was the, hey, I got to get them to their homes, otherwise they're gonna like die.
mhm.
That's like a whole bit. You know,
Definitely.
So it's consistent. That's good. And they like adapt to the situation on it. So it's fine. Nothing,
Hmm.
nothing wrong with it.
What did you think, by the way? Maybe we should break this down from the beginning.
The
Gwen's.
first,
I'm gonna call her. I'm not gonna call her Spider. I'm gonna call her Spider Gwen because that's how stupid of a character name that she has in the comics. She got a lot of fleshing out as a character, really, and
yeah,
I definitely liked Captain Stacy. To be honest, probably the plot didn't want me to like him, but I couldn't help. But they didn't villainize. I appreciate that they didn't villainize Dad necessarily, and they didn't villainize her in that situation. They're just
no,
like at a
no. I think
conflict each other essentially.
yeah, it was that first 30 minutes was like pretty good to flesh out like
Mhm.
Gwen's backstory because it's like okay, you want to add a little more, add a little more to Gwen because obviously you couldn't quite do that in
Mm.
the first movie with all those
Yeah.
characters that you had. So it's like, yeah, this makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
this
Definitely.
makes sense
And
to flesh it out, and then like, and of course I got a kick out of it because yes, this is Gwen's like comic origin. Like the Peter of her world turns himself into the lizard and
mhm.
fights Gwen, and accidentally he gets killed in the battle.
Mhm. Yeah. The thing is, like, I would definitely compliment the writing uh towards her, but my criticisms would be probably more subjective, really. Because originally Gwen Stacy was like the first true love of Peter Parker, essentially. She
Uh,
was kind of definitely more frail and kind of like innocent and kind of thing. Definitely wouldn't play the drums or anything like that. I know it's a different universe, but it's
I know, I know.
strange to
It's
me, seeing this shaved hair at the side, and the freaking piercing in the eyebrow. That bugged me, by the way. Just constantly seeing like the piercing at the eyebrow. I couldn't help but just stare at that piercing, but just find it distracting.
yeah, the
But
the
and
the
and
hair thing was a little
yeah,
much. I
yeah,
like it made sense in the first movie because it was
yeah,
just like like Miles like just
yeah,
accidentally ripped off her hair, and that was like it was like
yeah.
okay, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
like why they kept it there. I kept it in this one, even though
Mhm.
it's been like like a year or two since then. I don't know, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Um, the thing is, like, she was playing the drums. Yeah. By the way, we've got a comment here. Like, Haley Steinfeld is very good. I completely
Yep.
forgot Haley Steinfeld voiced this character. She did a great job. Not again. Yeah, everyone did a great job voicing wise. To be honest. The thing I wanted to bring up as well is just that. Um, yeah, it's essentially she kind of acts tomboyish as well. That's kind of what bugged me. She was defending Peter from being bullied in high school, and I was like, would Gwen do that? Uh, Maybe, I guess so, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think obviously yeah, like it's a little the dynamics are definitely a little different in comparison to the 616.
Hmm.
Me, I guess I don't mind it as much because I'm a lot more familiar with the general backstory of Gwen, at least that version of Gwen in the books, and it all makes
Hmm.
sense, and it worked out pretty well. It was faithful to that, made things interesting, kind of having Gwen be sort of at odds with her dad, because he thinks
Hmm.
that she killed Peter, but
Hmm.
no, that's not the case. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't villainize the dad.
Hmm.
It's just and it makes sense more when you think about it because like the
Hmm.
Peter was a good friend to Gwen, so obviously like Captain Stacy would kind of almost view
Hmm.
Peter as like a
And
son.
especially like a respectable, essentially friend, like kind of like um essentially like Peter's always been like has like this air of innocence around him, especially with the glasses, and maybe
Yeah,
the captain thought a lot of him essentially, and
well, yeah, as I was gonna say, like he would view him kind of like a son because of how close
mhm,
Peter and Gwen would be in that world,
yeah,
you know.
definitely.
So it adds a lot more to like his motivations to want to, you know, take down Spider Woman, so to speak, and,
Hmm.
and I liked it. I mean, admittedly, Like
Ooh,
I
ooh.
I should
Hang
I
on.
just
Sorry
think
to interrupt you. Yeah, I'm surprised they even had "You're a good cop." Exactly.
yeah.
She actually compliments him. Yes. So that bolsters a point that they didn't villainize it really either side. It was just like this, teenager and dad kind of conflict, and I did appreciate that because other movies you'd be like, "Oh, slay queen, slay! You go out Spider-Man stuff. Essentially, do that and put yourself in danger." That's kind of what I hated about the Homecoming trilogy. Is it about Aunt May that she was kind of an idiot for not really worrying about for not really telling Peter, hey, uh, how about stop being Spider-Man? Because that's definitely something Aunt May would say. I don't like an Aunt May that allows Peter to be Spider-Man. Really, there should be some more conflict in there. There was some. Uh, so was it good?
It was.
Yes,
I
but
mean, it was okay.
I think it was good on a writing level. But yes, but there's some caveats. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah, like and I should we should really say this because like that
Mhm.
first 30 minutes, I mean that shit was an epileptic seizure waiting to happen. I mean, I get it, I
Yep.
get it. It's you want to be stylistic, and I'm all
Mhm.
for stylized, but like holy shit, you didn't need to keep flashing like three different colors like every 2 seconds. Okay, like
Mm.
if you're prone to seizures or have epilepsy,
Yeah, this is
don't
not the
don't
movie
don't
for you.
watch it. Or if you're gonna watch it, like have every light on, okay, so that way you're not gonna like fucking go nuts because it just does intense like strobing effect lights
Ooh,
things going on.
do you reckon this was better than the first Into the Spider-Verse? We've got comments here saying not as good as the original. Uh, hmm.
You know what?
Well, you know what? Once the second part comes out, I'll let you answer it because, as you all know, chat, this is a two-part film, so it's an incomplete film, and I
I would
reckon I hope they'll take some risks in the second one in terms of character deaths, and then I will easily give it an 8. If
I
it's
would
as it stands, standing for me between like a 6, 7, and 5. Really, the score in terms of uh, I think they should definitely take some risks in the next one. Uh, yeah. Well, what were you gonna say? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I would say it's not quite as good as the first one. I think because the first one just was a lot more like I think it was just because the first one had like a shorter cast and like
Hmm.
a little more purpose, and like it had like a concise ending at the very least. This
Hmm.
one, like it's a little bit bloated to some degree.
Hmm.
Like it
But they
pads.
bloated it because they knew they were going to split this movie into two, so they
No,
thought,
no, no, no,
"Oh, we
no,
can
no, no,
keep
no.
the bloat."
It's
Essentially.
not. It's I don't. No, no, no. It's not just
Hmm.
we bloated it because we're gonna do part two. It is like there was like way too many. There was like four seeds of Miles getting like motivational talks from his
Hmm.
mother. It's just like, look, I get it. His mother loves him and she wants to. She wants to keep him close, but she understands that that's just not feasible. So she wants him to still be the little boy that she loves. It's like I get it. Okay, you only need like one, maybe two scenes. I didn't
Hmm.
need like four or five. Okay,
Hmm.
and also there are some moments. It did. It's not as bad as other like Marvel movies, but there were certain moments in this where they have like
Hmm.
the serious moments, and then the comedy just immediately cuts it out. One particular bit was when Spot is
Hmm.
fighting Miles, and like
Hmm.
Spot's powers start like kind of getting kicked up into overdrive, and his
Hmm.
voice starts changing. It's like reverbing. He's like looking actually intimidating. He's like,
Hmm.
okay, Miles, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then he charges at him, and then he accidentally kicks himself in the balls, and then he vanishes. It's just
Hmm.
like I'm just like, what the fuck? Like you just
But it
finally
does
made
get
him
better.
you made him like intimidating, and
Hmm.
then he just like you took it away from me 2 seconds. Granted,
Hmm.
like they keep it.
That didn't bug me because I knew later on. Okay, he'd treating him a joke like now, but he'll definitely become something more.
Yeah, he becomes something more, but it still was like as it was. It was so annoying to me because it's just something I would expect from like Disney or something, and it's just like I don't like that type
like
of
a
thing.
Marvel humor, kind of like a very serious moment, and then they pull you out with a joke. Can't have you
Yeah,
dwell on a dramatic moment. I think this movie had many of those, which I appreciated.
not many,
Yup,
which is a good thing, you know.
that reminds me. You were probably a great big fan of the way they did Ben and Riley, huh?
I'll be honest. I had heard I heard about the casting for Ben Riley before I watched
Hmm.
the movie.
Yeah, and you were like,
Uh,
oh, that's a comedian actor, so he'll probably be a joke,
that is an SNL comedian actor that
right?
I really wasn't big on the voicing. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just see how it goes.
Hmm.
When I first heard Ben Riley talk, I was kind of like, I don't know.
Hmm.
It was not how I imagined Ben Riley to be because they make him like talk like he's like doing those comic book narrations, yeah, like comic book monologues that you'd
Hmm.
see, and it was just so. It was kind of a little stupid for me. I didn't really like it. You know,
Hmm.
I like the design. I like the animation style, which looked very Shattered Dimensions like, you know,
Hmm.
at least the way that he moved. Otherwise, this wasn't really that big on the voice. You know, he did okay, but beyond
Hmm.
that, that was it.
Yeah, yeah, he was treated
Uh,
like an absolute joke in the movie, and to be honest, I don't care. Screw Ben Riley. Don't like him.
n-
Put him in the
I
bin.
would do, I would go for that.
Screw Ben Riley. I don't like him. If anything, I do
I
like
like Ben Riley
Kane.
more than I like Miles Morales. That's for sure.
Oh, I don't like them either. On the same level, I just think no, you're too much. Go away. I don't like any of you guys. I don't like you. I don't like you. Get out.
Okay,
But
what
you
did
know,
you think of Miguel
it,
O'Hara then?
I thought he was the basest character of them all, but I was
The
definitely
basic?
smiling. Yeah, no, the based, most
Uh
based character in there. And I was smiling ear to ear as he was like, getting his speech on Miles essentially.
yeah,
But that,
I did
yeah,
like that. Okay, we should
but that excitement
I
was,
think we need to build that one up a bit.
yeah, that excitement was
Okay.
short lived essentially as I thought about it. What might happen. But
Nah,
yeah,
but you gotta save for the moment. Okay, so we should
Miguel was the best part of me. All right, we'll say that for later.
yeah, no, we need to
We're on.
like build we need to explain and build it up. So let's start off with so
Hmm.
we have Miles and Miguel, Miles and Spot
Hmm.
fight off, and then uh, Miles like follows Gwen into like Spider-Man India's world because
Hmm.
Spot's basically got a power up and he's going
Yeah,
across other.
I always found it weird. Okay, there's this particle accelerator laboratory, and what they mention it in the India dimension. I'm like, that's a
Well,
weird
it
place to
was
have a
like
laboratory. Okay,
I mean, he's just going to like all of the
dimensions.
places that have a collider. You know, the
Hmm.
machine that
But
Kingpin
why
was
wouldn't
using in the.
India, a very poor country, mind you, um, I don't know, maybe it's some Wakanda India, for all I know.
Well, I mean, it
Uh,
would have to be in that version of that world, but what? But it's just like he goes to Spider-Man India's world to with Gwen, and they team up with Spider-Man India. You
mhm,
know, they're taking on Spot, and like he gets his superpower. It's like jacked up. You know, he's getting more powerful, and then like he basically takes down an entire building, and they get joined by Spider Punk, and the four of
mhm.
them are just doing like this big scene of like
All right,
saving
before you carry
people.
on,
Yeah.
what did you think of Spider-Punk?
I'll be honest, I couldn't understand a word he said half the time. His accent is like his English accent was like very thick. I couldn't understand half the words he said. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying, my guy?
Like, I understood like most of it, but I'm like, okay, you're trying really, really hard
It's like
for him not to
I know
for
the
him not to
actor
be
is
understandable, but I caught it. I had to hear
it's like
some of that shit.
I know the actual actor is like is from the UK, but it
Hmm.
was like so like
over
heavy
the
that I
top.
couldn't.
Yeah,
And he
I
kept
suppose
saying
it was
so
meant
many
to be.
things at once, and it was just like I couldn't understand like half the words he said.
Mm.
I'm like, ah. He's like, soft foot on the bra, down under. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Like,
I find
I
that
know you're
hilarious.
speaking English, but I can't understand it.
Yeah. Like, I think like there was like a joke, and Miles like says, "What did he say?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, that was on purpose. Like you're trying. It's really difficult."
I would say if
Um,
I ever watch this movie again, I'm
yeah.
definitely turning on subtitles.
To be honest, like when it was first intro like came on, essentially, I was like, "Crap." It's like
Another,
playing. It's
God
like
damn it,
playing.
another Spider-Man.
Do you know what I felt like? I felt like I was transported all of a sudden. All that pain and misery that I had playing Watchdog Legions. Remember that game? Oh, it's just me. Okay. Uh, it was this kind of like this game where you're kind of like a hacker essentially, and yeah, you're kind of like this
Watch
British
Dogs?
essentially. Watch Dogs Legion.
Uh,
Play around a bit. You're kind of like a hacker essentially. The
right. And
first game
you
was pretty
thought
good,
that was what Spider-Punk
and
was?
yeah, like all. It's a very woke game, I would say. Yeah, they're probably on the woke
I would
side,
say like
and it's just
it
like,
gets weirder down the line of the series because I've already played the first one.
hmm yeah. If you watch some clips of it, you'll completely understand. So I felt like I was transported to my Watch Dogs thingy Legion experience, essentially, like instilled into their kind of like all this British culture and kind of left leaning more so, and it's just like that's not really what I get from British people. I don't, to be honest, I'm not really sure what I
I,
get from British people, but
yeah,
like the
I don't
vibe
know.
of Britishness, I didn't. I felt like it
I
wasn't
don't.
really that accurate. I mean,
I don't know what to.
definitely distinctive, I guess. I guess there are some British people like Spider-Punk, but I didn't feel
I
like it was
guess it's
authentic.
just honestly, I wasn't really sure what to get out of Spider Punk because
Hmm.
I've never read Spider Punk comics.
I
I
didn't
didn't
either.
even know. I didn't
I,
even
I
know of his. I didn't
I
know
did
of his
not like
exist.
his art style. I found it
Yeah,
incredibly
his art
distracting.
style was a little like I
Too
get the
much, over the
idea.
top. I get the
I get
idea,
the
but I think
idea,
it was over the
but
top.
yeah, I get the idea what they were going with, but it was definitely not my thing. But I didn't even know of Spider Punk's existence until I saw an alternate suit in the PS4 Spider-Man game, where I even knew that was a thing. And it took me even longer to find out that wasn't just some alternate version of Peter. That was like an entirely different guy. So it was like, okay. So I had no idea what to expect.
Hmm.
And as I said, I couldn't understand half a word he said a lot. Uh, and then like I get the idea that they wanted to lead up the punk, like the rebellious super punk doesn't care about establishments, blah blah blah. You know, I
Hmm.
guess it's some of his lines that I could understand just kind of like fell flat for me because it's like okay, whatever, I don't care.
Hmm.
And then they like continue on like they have this like whole little running joke about how Gwen is like hanging out at his
Yeah.
place, and Miles is like, what do you mean? No, my white snow queen is
uh,
hanging out with this other motherfucker. No,
what did you
no, it's
think
like,
of him like drawing pictures in a notebook? I'm like,
dude,
okay, one
I
page, okay, fair enough. Two
it was
pages, a
every
little weird,
single
okay.
page.
3 page, oh, okay, that's a 4 page, 5 page, and then you just click through it. I'm like,
It was
Christ,
every
man,
single page. Like
goddamn,
I audibly, I
man
when I
is
was when I
calm
watched
down,
it,
good.
I audibly just went Sam. But
Oh
yeah,
no,
that was so ridiculous there. But yeah, but they have the
man likes
moment where
doodle.
they have the moment where all four of those spiders start saving people. You know,
Yeah,
it's real
on
cool.
on
I
some
like
pages
that.
there was like a Spider Pig, and then the anime Spider Penny Parker. Like there should have been more of those guys as well, not just her. Um, I know
Yeah, I don't
Shad
know.
in
I
his
don't know. But
review, by the way, um, he did point this out, and I think it's a good point. Um, that Miles definitely has the hots for Spider Gwen.
Hmm.
But in this film, it was more so established that she really likes him too. But
I,
that
I,
wasn't really
I don't know.
suggested that much in the
It
first
was
film.
more. I don't know. For me, though, it felt more like she just viewed him as a friend because it's like the first time she's made a friend outside of Peter, and that's
Mm,
about it. But let's get back on track for the plot thing because
yeah,
I really
Spider-Man
want to get to
India,
that.
the Spot Collider. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to. So they save all those people, as like the buildings coming down. It gets to that bridge, and then Gwen gets a call from I think it was Miguel or Jessica, just basically saying, "Hey, look, there's going to be a canon event happening," and that Captain Singh guy, he's
Hmm.
about to get like crushed.
The George Stacy of India, essentially.
Yeah, the George Stacy of that world, and Miles jumps in, saves him, but then a freaking giant like portal opens up in the
Hmm.
ground, and it's like oh no, something's wrong, and then all the spiders, like a bunch of spider people, show up to like go
Hmm.
to work on it, and then they bring Miles to the people's headquarters, which is I'm assuming on Miguel's home dimension. I'm assuming.
Hmm.
But yeah, and he goes on to like explain some things. He explains how uh there are like certain moments in the timeline that are gonna happen called canon occurrences. And
Hmm.
if you like some of them are good stuff and then some of them are bad, and he shows up like multiple examples, like showing from comics, animation, live
Hmm.
action, like actual live action. There'll be clips from the Toby movies, the Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield movies, the animation, like freaking Spectacular Spider-Man was in one of
Yeah.
those bits, and then stuff from the comics, like they used the George Stacy comic book death as an example. And
Hmm.
Miguel's like, yeah, look, all these like different events like happen to spider people, everybody, no one's exempt from it. And if you disrupt some of these canon events, you may potentially destroy an entire world.
Mm.
And
Which I've,
Miguel,
which is like, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, but yeah, go on.
yeah, and then Miguel even goes on to say, "Hey, I know it happens because I did it too." He talks about how he was looking at another universe version of himself that had a family, and was happy, and then he watched that version of himself get killed, so he steps in and
Hmm.
like fills the role of the family man, but that causes that world to get annihilated from existence,
Hmm.
and thus Miguel wants to ensure that that does not happen again to any world.
Hail,
Yeah.
Paul Hadouken. It's good to see you here. I guess from last Legion Amoeba stream.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Tazza moment was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
pretty. It was pretty. It was a lot of the moments was pretty cool. Like
Hmm.
I liked seeing some of the. I liked the member berries. It was nice.
Of
But
course you did.
yeah.
Before you go on, would you like to know what my favorite memberry in this
Okay,
was?
what was your favorite member berry?
Lego freaking Spider-Man. I
Oh,
was
that was kind of that
fanboying
was a
out of
nice
my
touch.
mind. All right, screw Spectacular Spider-Man, screw PS4 Spider-Man. Move
Oh,
aside. Lego Spider-Man is the goat. I say.
did you
I
notice that they
freaking
were
love that character.
reusing? Did you notice that they were reusing Spider-Man,
Hmm.
Spider-Man One audio of Jay Jonah for the Lego section?
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
because
know that.
I watched Spider-Man 1 enough times to recognize
Wow,
those lines.
I am impressed. Okay, that's interesting. They didn't just get J.K. Simmons just reuse audio. Interesting.
Well, I mean, they reused a lot of voice lines from all the other movies. There's like
Hmm.
when they have that chase scene and they go
Hmm.
across that like target range with all the Spider-Man villains. Did you hear Alfred Molina's like Doc Ock go, "Hello,
Yes.
Peter"? That
Yes.
was a reused line.
Yeah. 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 I noticed that.
Yeah. Okay. So let me continue.
Yeah.
So like
Did go on.
Miguel's telling Miles all about the stuff. It's like, yeah, look, when you saved that captain, you potentially doomed that world. Like we're trying our best to fix that wormhole that opened up, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't know if we're gonna be able to stop it. We're trying. So you basically put that world in a danger. And Miles is like, okay, well, why are you telling me this? And
Mm-hmm.
Miguel's like, well, Spot is going to kill your dad,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to let that happen.
Right,
And of
right.
course,
Here's the problem. But yeah, go on. Here's where problems start creeping up. But yeah, do go on.
yeah. So obviously, Miles is kind of like, whoa, I don't want that to happen. That's my dad. You know
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. And he tries to like rationalize it by like bringing up like Uncle Ben and all that stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, and it's kind of seems like most of the spider people that start coming in because the room starts filling up with all the spider people. You know, even Spectacular Spider-Man who shows up, he goes like, "Yeah, that it's all true, Miles. That's how it's gonna happen, and it sucks. We don't
Mm-hmm.
like it, but that's the way it is, you know." And
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
then they
go on.
have they have like the big chase scene, which is just like sensory overload. So many different spider people, so many
Mm-hmm.
cameos. Blinking, you're gonna fucking miss
Oh,
some of them.
did you? You obviously didn't miss the Spider-Man on with crutches, right? Right.
No, I didn't. I wish I missed that one, but that was pretty
Mm-hmm.
stupid. Like, but yeah, there were some like there were ones that were actually cool, like Spider Cat, Spider T Rex, and the Cowboy Spider Man.
Yeah. No, I
And
find it
then like
interesting that he had guns that shoot webs. You know.
I mean, it was interesting,
Wait,
you
wait,
know,
wait, wait.
like I liked
Wait,
that.
wait. Hang on. Update on the Lego Spider. Apparently, a 14-year-old made that. God
Well,
damn.
that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah. I like how Miguel, by the way, calls him. Thanks, Lego Spider-Man. You're one of our best. And like, goddamn right he is. Fucking best. But do you want to know what I want to know is like if he comes like to next to like Miles and stuff, is he like actual Lego mini figure size or is it just like normal size as other people? I need to know that essentially.
So you're thinking like, is he going to be like a tiny Lego person, or is he going to
Yeah,
be like
yeah,
a human sized Lego?
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
I don't know, but I kind of want to see that. I just want to see what that would look like.
Imagine if in the next movie he's just like uh, about everyone's in trouble. Spot is destroying the whole Spider Verse. And we need major help. We're calling in our best guy. So it's just Lego Spider Man just like triumphantly, with like epic music in the background. Just walking there, and he's walking, and then it takes him like a while to walk there, and then the camera just like slowly zooms out to
Yeah,
have him be like, that'd
yeah,
be
that would be
brilliant.
pretty cool.
Like
So,
I'd be like, shut up! I'm paying the full price for the ticket now. I did watch this film in the cinemas, but I did have like a good voucher on me that essentially I paid like uh it was more than half price essentially. It was like 1/4 price of the ticket essentially. So yay.
yeah.
Yeah, the ticket prices, man, they're getting terrible. Anyway, enough of
Yeah,
me
so like
waffling
we
about
have
Lego
to
Spider-Man. Yeah,
yeah, so we had Lego Spider-Man. Now we have the
yeah.
big chase with all the
Mhm,
different spider people that pop up. You know, if you see one you recognize, point it out. There you go.
mhm,
And then it gets up to they get on that monorail train that's like going up into the fucking sky,
mhm.
and
Yeah, to the moon.
Miguel, yeah, practically the moon. We're going to the
How
moon.
how were they going to breathe in there? I don't.
I
Peter
I
Parkers are
think
supposed to be smart.
I think it's well, it's 2099 tech. That's probably like a whole. It's probably a
Mhm,
whole thing to it, but it doesn't matter. Like Miguel is chasing down Miles, and he goes like, he's like, dude, you are the original like anomaly. You are the original like fuck up of the multiverse. And he starts explaining the spider that bit you was from another universe. It was not meant to bite you. It was meant to
mhm.
bite the Spider-Man of its world, but since it bit you, you doomed another world,
Mhm,
and the Peter of your world died protecting you when he shouldn't have. He should have already had stopped Kingpin and stopped the collider and all that. And he just goes like, "You're not Spider-Man. You are not one of us. You don't belong. You're a mistake." You know, and I couldn't help but grin and just go,
Yeah,
beast!
I was grinning as well, but it was a short-lived
Oh, hey, I'm gonna savor
grin.
that. I'm gonna savor that because I just
Because
love that
you know what they're going to do?
they canonically call Miles a fucking mistake. It's just so
Yeah,
funny. Like I
useless
get
as
the
well.
idea what they're going for. They want to make it be like it's sort of kind of like a meta thing where like Miles
Hmm.
actually has to earn being Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. There's evidence for this in the first movie, apparently.
Oh yeah,
I guess it was
because the
glitching out.
spider starts doing like glitching shit in the
Hmm.
first movie,
Yeah,
and like you could
and
and at the
he
time
transports into the dimension like he uh essentially messed up on. Because there's no Spider-Man in that world essentially. Um,
yeah, because that's the whole thing. Because Spot when he was doing experiments to make that collider for Kingpin in the first movie, he
mhm,
brought in the spider from that world. So
mhm.
which is
Yeah,
even what Spot says. He's like, "I created you, you created me," type thing. You know.
more
But
of
yeah,
a like
as
villain. Yeah.
yeah, like they have that moment, and it's even like said that like all the other spider people like Peter and Gwen, they knew about it and they actively talked about it. So like Miles is like so like distraught and hurt. He's like, "Oh God, y'all actually think I'm a mistake?"
Yeah, yeah. They didn't want to tell him that. But you see,
Yeah, they didn't want to. They didn't want to tell him that, which is like, yeah, uh,
the
okay.
thing is, like, let me go into what I wanted to go down here because of these canon events. It's the cliche problem of you've heard of the thingy conundrum of the trolley problem, right? You
Oh
either
yeah, yeah, I
let
get
the
it.
train run over one person or the multiple. It's exactly that same problem. And
It
Miles
kind of
says,
it sort of is,
hmm
but if you
I
but
think it's
here let
exactly
me.
that. To be honest.
I mean, it is that, but here's the thing: in this context of this of how the world works,
Hmm.
it's not. It's like if you save the one person, that
Hmm.
one person still gets evaporated when the world that person is in,
Hmm.
you'll get sucked in. So it's sort of like, oh
Oh, okay.
shit.
So if so they're saying like, oh, if you do save both, then you'll kill both,
Yeah,
or
pretty. I think that's kind of
you're risking to kill both. But
your potential. I mean, what I think that's what Miguel's stance is. Is like he's like,
mhm,
look, I get it. You want to save your dad, but the
mhm,
problem is you're gonna doom the entire world. And like, what's the point of saving your dad if he's gonna get doomed along with the world, your world? You
mhm,
know, because they have that whole bit where Miguel is like, despite the entire world that he was in getting
mm,
evaporated around him, he's still trying to save his alternate daughter, and she
yeah,
gets evaporated. And it's like that's like from where that cements where he's coming from, and
yeah,
you understand everything about him. Pretty simple, Uh, that at least that's for me. I understand, and obviously they'll in the second movie they'll probably do something where Miles defies fate or something, and he has to earn being Spider-Man. Like because and it'll probably I don't know how it'll go, but that's how it'll be. As for
hang on, hang on. Discussing film just tweeted this exact image that's behind us with a tagline: "Quote tweet with your spider persona."
oh right, that was a thing that happened last
Ugh.
movie when they had a bunch of artists like make
Spider
different.
persona.
That's
That's a
exactly
furry
what.
thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's just like make your OC spider person.
That's
That
a
was a thing
furry.
that
No.
I
That's
know.
disturbing to me.
I know. That's a
That's a
thing that
furry
they
thing.
start. I
But
know
that's a
that. I
furry
know it's
thing,
a
Bug.
furry thing.
Bug,
I'm trying to
Bug.
explain
But
it.
that's a furry thing.
I know
What the
it's a
fuck?
furry thing. I'm a degenerate. I know what it means
Why did they say it like that? Why?
because that was what the trend started with.
Oh
Freaking
no.
last movie, they kept they called it
Okay,
Spider
okay.
Sona.
We're finishing the stream, everyone. Spider Verse was a mistake. Shut it down. Kill it.
Okay, but
Spider persona. Jesus.
Okay, let's
Well,
get back to the
I'm sorry, I got
movie.
derailed. All right, I can't get over that. But
Okay, so let me
yeah, you finish your point, and I want to bring up something important. Yeah.
well, I think my point was kind of mostly
Hmm.
finished. I just wanted to
Yeah.
talk about uh Peter in this movie.
Hmm. Yeah. I think they kind of maybe they don't know it, or maybe they do. The thing that bugs me about, even though it was well written in terms of character, definitely fleshed out, definitely great villains as well in here. Um, I kind of felt like this meta commentary going against Peter essentially, and there's this little clip that I wanted to share with everyone. That essentially proves what Peter's like. Peter Parker, the main Peter. What would Peter really think in this sort of situation of saving people and letting people die, essentially? And there's this little game. I really liked it. It was very much so. Uh, it was. This is a clip from Spider-Man: Edge of Time. It's a great game. It has some great character moments, and that's because it was written by comic writers essentially, and that's what makes I think Christopher Barnes voices Spider-Man 2099, and he does an absolutely fantastic job. I think he suits for the voice of Miguel O'Hara like a glove. Essentially, I think it's a fantastic casting choice. I think that's probably his best essentially because he sounds like kind of like an older but kind of like a more serious as well Spider-Man, and I think he fits Miguel O'Hara perfectly. But anyway, on that little tangent, yeah, I think there's some great character interactions in this game, and I think this little clip summarizes essentially what Spider-Man would think.
Can't mean that. You can't just ignore that she's in danger.
Hey, I'm trying to focus on what's important.
What's important is not standing by and allowing someone to suffer or die because you do nothing. If you don't get that, then you don't get the first thing about being Spider-Man.
Yeah, so that was essentially the little clip that we had, and I definitely agree with Peter here because he's got to take on responsibility to almost everything essentially. So when Miles says that, well, I can do both. I can save my dad and I can save the universe as well. And I think to myself, okay, all of these Spider-Men climbing up this freaking moon rocket to the rocket to the moon or whatever. None of them think, hey, why am I chasing Miles? Why am I not helping him? You know, it kind of goes against what the Peter Parker philosophy, like the essence of the character, essentially. I think it kind of undermines Peter essentially by having Miles to be the only virtuous one in trying to at least save both. I can see why Miguel is very pragmatic. Okay, we either do this or this. I'd rather do this because less people die in the long run. But I think like
Ooh.
Peter is a very good-natured individual, and he'd obviously want to try to save both. And like, okay, maybe release the kid on the day, or like maybe he might not be able to save it because that's also like the Parker luck, of the tragedy of Peter essentially trying to save his loved ones but failing anyway. It could be something like that, essentially like they try to save their loved ones on over and over again, even with time travel, but they constantly die essentially, like it's
Yeah,
destiny or do something like
I
that.
get I get the idea that like obviously like this is something that mostly like Peter would at least want to try to fix and
Hmm.
solve, like this is like he's not going to be like choose one life over the other type thing,
Hmm. And
even
there's
in
multitudes of Spider-Men here, and I was like thinking,
y-
none of them thought this really. All of
I
them are
think
going along with it.
I have to assume that it's because Miguel probably is like kind of like spot like has been through this. He like hammers it in, and maybe it's
Mm.
attempted before. I don't
Chapman knows
know.
what's up. Edge of Time, really good. All right,
Yeah,
carry on.
like because the way they describe it, it's not like if they break a canon event that it takes out the whole multiverse. They make it sound like it only takes out that one particular dimension. So I would assume that they all maybe some of them tried to do it, and like Miguel's like kind of just hammered it in that this is something that cannot be done. You
Mhm.
know, that's at least what I would think. Now, yeah, it does feel like it goes against the characters of
Mhm.
Spider People to like have to choose one or the other type
Mhm.
things. But it's also like looking at it from Miguel's standpoint,
Yeah,
it's
definitely
like
makes sense
this.
for him.
It's there's a lot going on. Like some people are getting upset with me for agreeing with Miguel here, but it's like
Mhm.
if you look at it from his point of view and seeing it, because it's like Miles is already like he's already not looking good because of him being
Mhm.
practically patient zero for all of the multiverse fuck ups that
Mhm.
Miguel is now trying to clean up.
Mhm.
Then you factor in the Spider-Man India situation. Now
Mhm.
you could give Miles a pass on that one because he didn't know. So how the
Mhm.
hell was he gonna see that coming? So it's like you got that, but then after he's
Even if he did know,
explained,
he'd try, I reckon. Which makes it even more annoying because he's like, oh, he's more virtuous than the Spider People. That's what's kind of bugs me.
maybe, but like but like still continue on from Miguel's point. Like
Mhm.
Miguel tells him everything. He goes like, "Look, I tried to do it that way too. It didn't work. I lost people." And it's like Miles is like ready to do this again. So it's like Miguel it's like, "Look, kid, you're about to like you already sort of do one world maybe and you're
Mhm.
about to do it again.
Mhm.
I can't let that happen." And then this leads up to the chase and all that. Now, as I was thinking, back to the main topic, which was Peter. Like,
Mhm.
uh, I'm not sure how I feel about his portrayal, more or less, in this one. It
Mhm.
was like,
It was definitely better than what Spider-Man comic writers are doing today.
yeah,
But
it was definitely. It was nice to have him be in a like a good
loving
relationship, a
relationship with
loving
a kid,
relationship with Mary
absolutely
Jane,
being a
having
dad,
yeah, like I. Although there are some bits to it that's just
although he
like
is stupid for taking that
what.
baby with him. I know they joke
Yeah,
about it as well. You know, that's good that they pointed it out that it's stupid, but it's still
I
stupid.
did. I
Just
did
because you
like.
point out that it's stupid doesn't mean that it stops being stupid. I
Yeah,
wish they could have done the same thing for Spider-Woman as well, but you know.
yeah, which probably is why I like the one bit
Mhm.
when Peter's like going like, "Well, yeah, I'm a good mentor," and they have Jessica Drew try to like say, "Well, you were a terrible mentor," and then Miguel just runs past him and goes, "You were both equally terrible." I just loved it. So it was just like, oh, that was a nice touch, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like it's Drinker kind of had a good point when he
Mhm.
talked about it. It just feels like they try to make this version of Peter be not as confident or like tough or as his his comic counterpart because
Mhm.
it seems like the writers are afraid that people would gravitate more towards him than they would
Mhm.
Miles. And
Yeah.
it's like it's not like an outright like they treat Peter like they do in the comics nowadays, but it does feel like they're trying to do it in a way that's like they want to give him some good stuff, but it's like they're trying to play it both ways, where it's like they want to downplay Peter, but they don't
Mhm.
want to outright like put him into the shitter because that was sort of the point of the first movie was that he was down on his luck and then through Miles
Mhm.
like he kind of gets his act back together and then as a result he has the relationship with Mary Jane, he has the kid, which
Mhm.
even Peter says. He goes like, "Look, Miles, I had my daughter because of you. You helped me out.
Mhm.
I taught you a lot of things,
Mhm.
and you helped me get my life back in order, and I like which was a nice
Mhm.
touch. I like that.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciated
It's a
the
weird
whole family thing.
balance.
Yeah,
It's a
it
weird
is.
balance. It
But
it
I still
feels
think
like
there's like a meta narrative like of
they
against
want to downplay it.
yeah, essentially putting the Peter Parker versions of Spider-Man down and raising Miles up. You know, to
It
to
does
kind of
feel like
make.
it does feel kind of weird that like the Peter Parker versions don't. They're kind of like not a really. It's like subtly they're trying to like kind of lower them down because the two
Mhm,
biggest examples is Peter B. Parker, which is like they try to do this little balance that's faithful to what they established in that first movie, and giving him the loving relationship, and then you have Ben Riley, which is like,
an absolute joke. Yeah. Um.
which yeah, I'm not big on that. So it's like
And
it's
yeah,
weird how those
look.
two get kind of downplayed.
By the way, do you really think Spectacular Spider-Man, like one of the best Spider-Man, would be saying to Miles, "Listen, you gotta let your father die"?
Well,
I don't think
I
he'd
mean,
say
he
that.
wasn't really. I don't think he was really saying that. He was like just saying like, look, it's true. We all because I think that was kind of part of them like explaining that
Hmm.
we all dealt with loss, and that's something that every Spider person has to deal with.
Hmm.
And Spectacular even just says like, yeah, look, that's true. We all had to deal with it. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know about him agreeing with the whole uh, letting someone die thing. I don't know.
Hmm.
Honestly,
I just kind of
I'm
see
not
it that
sure.
way, to be honest, and it's bugging
I,
me. There's like kind of like there's something more to the surface here that's against my spider sense is tingling, if you will, around
yeah,
this part.
yeah, I don't know. And then like, but yeah, let's get to the plot a little bit here. So like,
Yeah.
they have the chase scene.
Hmm.
Miles like basically goes back to the spider headquarters because all the spider
Hmm.
people were lured out now. And he goes to that like weird spider machine thing that like sends you back to your universe. So he does that. He gets sent off, and Miguel's pissed off about Gwen, like
Hmm.
like how she fucked up and pins the whole thing on her because yeah, it was because of her that Miles kind of got lost, and now they have to like find him and all that. And then like he just like yeets her back to her dimension, which I thought, hey, an actual person that punishes someone for fucking up, wow,
Hmm.
shocking,
Yeah, definitely.
but yeah, that happens, and then it's like it seems like, oh shit, things are building up because Spot is like getting ready to do his big thing, you know.
Hmm.
Miles' dad is like getting ready to go to become captain.
Hmm.
Like all the spiders are like getting ready, like following Miles' dad, trying to like be like, okay, we got to keep an eye on him, make
Hmm.
sure what's going on. And then the big twist, uh-oh, Miles got sent to the wrong universe because the machine that sends you back to your universe like uses DNA to send you to it. And
Hmm.
because of the spider was from another universe, it sends him to Earth 42, which is
Hmm.
let's just call it freaking evil Miles world because that's what it is. You
Hmm.
know?
Which is an interesting one, definitely. I was not expecting this because, you know, they're meant to prop up Miles, not essentially show an evil version of him. I mean, that's interesting, you know.
Yeah,
Wonder
I
what
I
they'll do with
wasn't.
that.
Oh, I was gonna be. I legit thought like
Hmm.
because they have the dead dad and everything. I legit almost
Hmm.
thought for a second like, wait a minute, is this gonna be the Insomniac Spider-Man universe? Because that's what it
Hmm.
was. It felt like because I was actually looking at the layout of the apartment because I'm thinking like, wait a minute, this looks familiar, and I thought it was. I thought the other Miles voice actor who plays him in the
Hmm.
games was gonna like pop up, and that was
Hmm.
gonna be the thing. I thought like, oh, is that what it's gonna be? But
Hmm.
no, it was just
Because I'm pretty sure there's like hmm, there was a 616 Miles, because Miles is originally from the Ultimate Universe,
yeah, they
and I'm
had
pretty
a
sure he worked for Kingpin essentially.
yeah, he
And
worked
he has scars on his eye and stuff like that. I'm not sure
yeah,
what
he
else he
worked
was.
yeah, he that version of Miles like basically was a he worked for Kingpin, was kind of like a good friend, and Kingpin told him about like the multiverse thing. It said like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a thing that exists, and that version of Miles was like, huh. And basically, that version of Miles just took the Kingpin storyline from the first movie, and that was it.
Mhm. Hmm.
As,
Interesting.
as yeah, so now my problem was like you have this whole buildup where it looks like everybody's gonna converge in. I would have been totally fine with like Miles and Gwen, like trying to stop Spot and you know save Miles's dad, and then like Miguel and the others are like trying to stop that from happening. It's like this
Mhm.
three-way like conflict. It's like it's getting pretty crazy and dicey, and then you can end it with a twist. But it's like it seems like it's like building up, building up, building up, done. Like, oh, we have evil Miles Morales, and and then we have Gwen basically getting her team of Spider people, including Penny Parker, Noir, Spider Ham, and
Yeah.
the other people that she
I,
got.
I I was surprised that we got to see Noir Spider-Man towards the end because I was pretty sure that I read somewhere Noir Spider-Man is not returning for the sequel. I'm like, God damn it!
It was
But he
kind of
was in there, so he'll probably be in Beyond the Spider-Verse, essentially.
probably, and I know the actor for Spider Ham, he was in
Hmm.
rehab during the time this was shooting, so
Oh,
it, yeah, he's out now and he's doing pretty fine. That's really good
all
for
right,
him.
that's good.
So I would assume that those guys are gonna come back. I hope
Yeah,
for the next one,
Nick
especially
Cage,
when
baby.
especially when you brought him back. It's like, come on. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
kind of want to see them again. I
All right.
I don't care. I don't care about the Spider-Man India that much because it's just like, yeah, I don't really care. And
Chai D, you don't
eh,
want to say Chai D. Oh, sorry, that was my best.
yeah,
That was my best impression.
I mean, Spider Punk, I could kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna need
He
subtitles for him because
wasn't
I
as
could.
he wasn't as unbearable. Like from his first intro, I'm like, this guy's gonna be a pain, isn't he? But he wasn't. It
He
wasn't
was
as
kind
bad
of
as I
just
thought.
like. It was he was like, oh, he was okay, like he was
Hmm.
just like, okay, like I thought he was gonna be like really, I thought he was gonna be really bad, and I almost thought they were gonna pull like some weird like thing where he was gonna be like down with this organization and like be totally up for like destroying the universe or some stupid shit. But it
Yeah.
doesn't seem that way, and I'm totally fine with him being around.
All right. There's some important pieces now that we've gone like through the plot, and you've summarized it nicely, and I've been interrupting you. Sorry about that.
It's all fine.
The thing is, like, I think this movie is good, but I think it's gonna get really good if they do go through with some deaths. Like they obviously foreshadow the death of Miles's father, and I think in the beginning of the movie, Miles and his father's interactions I think are absolutely great when they're like first fighting Spot together, essentially trying to arrest him.
Yeah,
I absolutely love the scene where the father is essentially like chasing after them, and then they pull through a hole, and he's like, do I jump through? Do I jump through? And no, he just takes the stairs essentially, like really in like a quick manner. I found that hilarious. Yeah, definitely like a careful kind of cop attitude. And I'm worried they're gonna essentially wussy out and not kill him.
that's the big thing, isn't it? Because it's like
Hmm.
that's gonna be and I think that's probably what they're gonna go for because it's gonna be
Hmm.
like Miles defying fate and all of that, and like proving himself as a Spider-Man because of
Exactly.
proving himself that like I can do both, I can save everybody,
Hmm.
kind of thing.
I am the
Which,
superior Spider-Man, quote unquote. See what I did there?
yeah, I heard. Like I don't know. Like I just don't think it would be good if they like actually follow through on it and maybe like have Miles have to deal with that kind of
Hmm.
loss. But the problem is the way they set things up. It just feels a lot like
Hmm.
Miles is going to just he's going to save his dad, and that's kind of going to be the thing. Like,
Yeah.
which sucks because it would at least I don't know. It would make some
Yeah.
sense. It would
I
work
reckon they
better.
have to kill off someone at least. You know?
I mean, I don't know who they would do that to. I think
Mhm.
I don't know if they would kill off anybody, truth be told, because
Hail,
uh
coming back, and hail to you as well. You
oh
got a hail
hello.
as well. You got a communist in the chat. Quick, kick him out. Um,
Yeah, because like here's the thing. They're not gonna kill Gwen because
mhm.
she's too
Oh,
popular.
you think they won't kill Gwen?
No, they're not gonna kill
I I,
Gwen.
I
They're not
reckon
gonna
they
kill
might.
Mc. They're not gonna kill Gwen. They're not gonna kill Miles. They're not gonna kill
I reckon they
Miguel.
might. I reckon they might.
If they did
Um,
kill Miles, it'd be like a fake out death.
yeah. I reckon
They're
they'll
not, and
kill
they're definitely
Spider
not
Gwen.
killing. They're definitely not killing Peter. I don't. I
No,
just don't think that. I just don't think they're gonna do that because the way they set
I
things
think
up.
they'll kill Spider Gwen or Dead.
I mean, maybe, but it would be like a
Hmm.
fake out death. It'd be kind of like one of those things where,
Mm.
like, Gwen like jumps in front of Miles and like gets hit, and she's like
Hmm.
out of commission,
Yeah.
but not a full death. I think that because that's probably what it would go. It'd probably be
Hmm.
like Gwen gets like fatally wounded, she's out of commission, and this is when Miles like fucking nuts up or
Hmm.
shuts up and he gets serious, and he
Yeah.
takes on Spot and he like whoops his
By the way,
ass.
we have a good number of people watching. If thank you for all tuning in. By the way, not a lot of people come in to visit my stream. Usually, it's just for the memes. So, oh, there's the iconic ice cream truck. I love the ice cream truck. Always at the same time. Great. So, if you don't know anyone, I do have like an ice cream truck that always comes at the same hour. Always makes a freaking noise, which I love. Absolutely love. Uh,
Uh,
Anyway, what was I? Yes, I was shilling the channel. So if you'd like to support us, I did pin a tweet. It's the stream elements tips, or you can send us any super chat you'd like if you're enjoying the conversation so far. I definitely want to talk about the ending more. And did you? Cause I know Shad really didn't like the cliffhanger
it,
ending. It didn't really bug me that much because I knew it was a part one. What about you, Bug?
well, as I kind of said backstage, like
Hmm.
going into it as a like it's going to be a part one, part two thing. Like I you at least got it just didn't work for me because I like some people tried to bring up as a defense to it, like, well, Infinity War did that. It's like, no, it didn't.
Hmm.
Infinity War, the character it built up to the conflict with Thanos, and they even
Hmm.
actually have them fight against Thanos, and then of course, like, yeah, Thanos like snaps out of life, and then he wins, and then that's like the
Yeah.
ending. Like
So
it's
what
like
you're
they
saying,
have a conflict.
it'd be like cutting towards the end when they're just about to face Thanos towards the end, and then
Yeah,
just ending the movie there.
yeah, or like better yet, using like Spider-Man movies, it's like
Hmm.
we Spider-Man 2, we build up to Peter having the final confrontation with Doc Ock, and he's got to save Mary Jane and stop that machine, and it's like
Hmm.
and then he just gets out of like away from Harry, but it's like right before he like leaves Harry's place, it's like, oh, we cut the movie off right then and there. Like that would be that's like such a stupid thing to do. Like I hate that kind of thing, and it really drug the movie down a few pegs for me because it's just like you didn't even get the conflict. Like you couldn't have them fight Spot at least one more time and then like do like a dramatic like cut off like or twist where like it's like, oh, did Miles' dad die? Did he not? And it's just like you don't know, until the next movie. It's like there you go. But it's so fucking stupid, man. And I don't
Hmm.
like it, and I hate having to like try to debate with some people on it because it just seems like if you say one bad thing about this movie or any of the
Yeah, oh
characters,
yeah,
you
definitely.
you
Have
get
you seen?
swarmed.
Yeah. Have you seen like the promos of like? This was one comment that really annoyed me on like a Spider-Man trailer of all things. I think I tweeted about it, calling it the best Spider-Man movie ever. And I'm like,
Yeah, you ain't
calm
Spider-Man
down.
2. Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Calm down. Like
Yeah,
literally.
it's like
First
it's like
off, it's
this.
not even about Spider-Man. It's about Miles. Second of all,
Yeah,
It's about a Spider-Verse, to be honest. So
yeah, it's more
technically
about
not a Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse.
It's Spider-People. So technically not the
Yeah,
best Spider-Man movie, but
yeah,
by
it's just
technicality.
it's so ridiculous. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, like there
It's
are
don't get me wrong. This movie is good. There is some quality writing in here, but I think some
it's
people are definitely overhyping it.
yeah, they're overhyping it. It's a decent movie, but as you said, there's a lot of
Mhm.
caveats to this. Okay,
Yes,
that's just
and
how
it
it
all
is.
depends on how they execute the second part of the movie, which I'm kind of worried that they're just gonna, pussy out and not kill anyone, essentially.
Honestly, I don't like that
Hmm.
I have to wait for the second one for them to like
Yeah.
for this. It's like
Would you
I'm
have
gonna
rather
judge the movie.
waited to seeing this movie and just seeing like the two parts back to back?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't like the I gotta reserve judgment until I see the second one. It's like no.
Mhm.
You put me through 2 hours, and a lot of that was like a lot of bloated shit that I didn't really need to see. Okay,
Mhm.
like I didn't need to see 5 scenes of Miles having a talk with his mother and her telling him the same exact thing
Mhm.
over and over and over again.
Do you
The
know? I would have
fucking
appreciated more scenes with the dad rather than the mum.
it would have been nice,
If you would kill him off later, those scenes would be even more meaningful. To be honest, as
Yeah,
well.
like I mean, unless like, what are we gonna do? Is like, is it gonna be like Miles's mother gets killed, and that's the twist? I mean, that would be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that actually. That'd be kind of interesting. But
Or
whatever.
both parents die. No. Actually,
Yeah,
black guy always has a single mom, so yeah, that's
yeah.
gone.
But then it's like, then that rooftop party scene that you could cut
Mhm.
that out. I didn't need that like at
Mhm.
all. Uh,
I liked like
eh,
when he was like entering the house, kind of. That's very Spider-Man esque, essentially.
yeah. It was very
Trying to
nice
balance his life.
yeah, it was very nice and interesting. But like, yeah,
Mhm.
there's like a lot of stuff that just you could trim this down. This could have been a freaking 90-minute
You could
movie. Truth be told,
probably, you could definitely like trim like a good 20, 25 maybe minutes of this movie,
yeah,
and you wouldn't really lose that much.
yeah, like trim down the Miles and his mother scenes down to like one, maybe 2 scenes, like one or
Mhm.
two. Like you could have one, and then if you were to keep that stupid twist in that he's on another world, like you keep that, there you go. Otherwise, just no. Like,
Mhm.
and it's stupid to have this kind of twist in it
Mhm.
when it's like it's 2 hours. You could have had a conversation with Spot because it just
Mhm.
makes it seem like that this could have been one movie and not two movies. So
Mhm.
unless the second movie is the first act is them stopping Spot, and then suddenly we get Morlon and the Inheritors.
Oh,
I
do you reckon we will get them?
I don't know. It would be nice, but
I
that's
have mixed feelings about them. They look cool, but they're not really that. There's a reason why they're like a C tier list of villain, essentially. I can't really remember his first appearance. Was it?
more.
Oh, was it
God,
the arc? Oh, it was the old geezer that had like Spider-Man powers as well. Oh,
Ezekiel,
Ezekiel.
yeah.
Yes.
Man,
And
I
it
don't
was
know.
when
I,
Spider-Man like died and he was like in a cocoon, and I think that's where he showed up. I have no idea what
yeah,
the
he
origins of that would be.
yeah, like
There's the ice cream truck again. I'll mute myself. I had enough of it.
the inheritor thing. I don't know how they would do it because like the especially the way that they set it up, it seems like Spot's supposed to be your main
Yeah.
antagonist, and
Yeah.
like you would have to after all that build up only to be like here's a new
Mm.
guy to go new group
Yeah.
to go up against. It would have made more
His evil
sense if
Miles, his like an evil Illuminati like family. Like, hmm.
yeah, because it's like for what it seems like it feels like the second one is going to be like Evil
Yeah.
Miles and Spot, which like
Yeah.
I
Well, I'm
guess
not
makes
complaining about
sense.
Spot, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not complaining about Spot either. It's just like I would have preferred. Like I get the idea. It's like you want something a little bit different. Like you use
Mhm.
like a lower tier character in a really creative way that's interesting.
Mhm.
You know, like I can understand that, but then it's like you can't use the inheritors
Mhm.
because that would have required build up. Like it would have, and it actually probably would have required you to like rewrite a huge chunk of this movie and the lore that they put
Mm.
into it because then if you had the inheritors, then you can't really have the whole like
Multiverse travel, essentially.
the multiverse like cop angle thing with
Mhm.
Miguel trying to stop Miles from saving his dad because that would be a little
Yeah,
iffy.
using Spot was
Ugh.
fucking bold. Like, yeah, definitely. Like, probably no one heard of him before this movie. I did.
I
I
kind of
heard
heard
of
of it.
Spot. All right, I
I
knew.
heard
All those nerds out there. Oh yeah, 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 Spot like a big villain. No, you didn't know jack shit about him before the movie. I knew. I knew about. I know about the Legion of Losers in the Spider-Man villains, and then Grizzly was there as well. I knew about Spot, so don't you dare you go like, oh, actually, Spot is. Blah, 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 blah." I knew about Spot. No, you know you didn't. No one paid attention to
yeah,
Spot.
I honestly like I knew of him. I didn't know a
Mm,
lot about him. I knew he was like definitely the lower rung of
mhm.
Spider-Man villains, like that just opened up portals and
Like
whatever.
very
That
low.
was like that was his thing, and it's like it's a nice touch to use that character to give him basically a nice little power upgrade. You know, it works.
Mhm.
Uh, and I don't know, and
Yeah.
it's good. But what
Mhm.
also kind of sucks is the way they set up Spider Verse and the rules. Like you can't really use the inheritors in this
Mhm.
way because it kind of fucks with the it would fuck with the lore
Mhm.
of this one because it's like you can't have because the whole big thing was like it's canon events they got to stop like
Yeah. I
they have
mean,
to make sure
Spot
things
is the big bad now, but I
yeah
guess Miles will now the evil Miles will be more of like an emotional, kind of more, which is kind of a cop out really. Just use like an evil version of your own main character, kind of. But hmm, I'd be
yeah
curious where they take it.
I don't know it feels like it feels like they're gonna use this Prowler Miles to be
Hmm.
like sort of kind of like the kind of like what Kane was to Peter, you know? He's like
Hmm.
your
I did
edgy
like
like
Kane in the comics. Yeah.
yeah, Kane is cool. Like
Mm.
that's what I think it might be cuz like it'll probably be like they'll fight and maybe like freaking Miles is going to like convince Prowler Miles to like join him and help him out to save his dad, maybe. And maybe Prowler Miles is just going to like use it as like a opportunity, maybe to take
Hmm.
advantage of the situation. I don't know. It's just so like, eh, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not really big on Prowler Miles because that shit was just so annoying to me. It's
Hmm.
like and it feels so low stakes too,
Hmm.
compared to like
Yeah.
Spot like killing his
The,
father.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like, why should I care about Miles being trapped here when he should be really in that dimension? Really, I mean, there's some interesting stuff you could explore with that, but it looks like there's this big freaking looming threat in here. And I suppose like Spider Gwen and stuff are kind of searching for him, or are they stopping Spot? That was
Well,
a bit
here's what
confusing.
I think it's gonna become. I
Hmm.
think Spider Gwen is gonna like go after Miles. It's gonna find him. They're gonna pick him up, and then they're gonna go. Her and like their little team is going to go to save Miles' dad. Miguel's group is going to be there, and it's going to be like a Spider-Man Civil War thing. That's what's probably going to happen, and then
Oh, great!
it's going to
I can see
end
that.
with like, yeah, and then it's going to end with Miles and Miguel seeing that like, yes, you can save both. You know,
Mm.
that's going to be the
And
thing.
on the yeah, exactly. That just goes hand in hand with like the meta commentary that like putting Peter down and raising Miles up. Yeah, it just bugs me. Yeah, but
Yeah,
if they do kill off some characters, I'll be giving
they're
like this
never gonna
two-part
kill
movie a
off
big consider.
anybody.
They're gonna they'll probably kill the dad. They have to, because Miles' dad does die, like very much so,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing that they built it up so much
Mhm.
to this degree and set
Like
Miles on
I
this path
I was
of like.
surprised they didn't kill him into the Spider-Verse. I'm like, hang on,
I think that's
what
because
is a
I think
Prowler like dying and the freaking because Miles's dad is like essentially Uncle Ben. Why- I was like surprised, like, hang on, why isn't he kicking the bucket and Prowler is? Prowler is the Spider-Man villain, so he should be probably a little alive, don't you think? But it'd be
well,
interesting to have
I think
Prowler alive and the dad dead. But
I think it's just I think it kind of makes it a little more impactful because
Mhm.
it's because like he sees like his uncle in such a role as like being one of Kingpin's like goons, and this
Mhm.
happens, and it's just like it kind of like makes a Prowler be like, holy shit, I was like kicking the shit out of my nephew here,
Mhm.
and then like I can't do that, and then he gets killed. It has an effect. It works. While like Miles is dead, I don't know. It's just the way they did it. It's just the way they did it,
Mhm.
and I don't know if they're gonna. I don't. I actually just don't think they're gonna follow through on killing Miles' dad. It would be bold. I would applaud them for it, but I don't think they're gonna do it. The way they set things up, it's gonna be Gwen saves Miles from Prowler Miles. They go to Miles' homeworld, fight Miguel in this big clash of Spider People versus Spider People. You know, then it's gonna be they're gonna take on Spot because they'll all team up to
Mhm.
stop Spot, and then they save Miles' dad. Done.
Yeah, probably. I can see that happening. I just think like, hmm. I hope they take some risks essentially with Beyond the Spider Verse. What do you mean by Beyond? Like this one was across the Spider Verse, and are they going to go down different, even more different multiverses? I don't know, because
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that.
mhm,
Beyond the Spider Verse. I don't know why you would
mhm,
call it that.
mhm,
Like, there's nothing beyond multiverses. At least in Marvel, like DC, they had a whole thing about it, but that's DC.
mhm.
Marvel, like, I don't know what you would really say for Beyond, unless it's like I don't know. It's probably just a cool name because it's like
Yeah,
because
I mean,
the first one is like, yeah, it's into the Spider Verse. It makes sense. And then this one
mhm,
is across the Spider Verse, which makes sense as a story because Miles is hopping across various universes in this place. Makes sense.
mhm.
Beyond the Spider,
Did you notice? By the
unless
way,
Miles, what?
interesting little observation. Spot, when he first uncovers his dimensional
Yeah,
abilities, he goes into the Venom world.
yeah, all
Why?
that. I honestly
Why? There's no
that
Spider-Man in there, so it's not technically.
well, I don't think that's a. I don't think that really matters.
Hmm.
That was just them reusing a scene from
Yeah,
Venom too.
that they're really trying to connect Venom to this whole Spider-Verse thing, and it's just, guys, it's not happening. Venom is not going to get that freaking white logo chest anytime soon in the freaking trilogy, which annoys the hell out of me. Why are you even bothering?
I don't
The
know.
only thing the MCU used it for is just to have the bit of symbiote goo in there.
Yeah, it's just for them to leave it in the MCU so that way the Tom Holland Spider Man could pick it up later.
Mhm.
That's pretty much all it was, which kind of sucks because it's like, man, we could have had something, but whatever. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. what I think the beyond part might be is you know how Spot, when he does like discover that he's upgrade his powers, you know, he's like
Hmm.
in this like empty like white space with all the spots around him.
Hmm.
What if that's technically the beyond of the Spider Verse thing? Like if the final confrontation is going to take place like in that thing, because that would definitely make a cool like final battle where like Miles
Hmm.
and Spot are just fighting and they keep flying into different universes, you know, kind of like that
Mm.
scene in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but like
Yeah.
way cooler.
What if something happens to like the evil Mouse's world, essentially, like that gets destroyed? I can see that definitely being, or maybe one of the Mileses doesn't survive, like the evil Miles or the original Miles, essentially, and they set it right, essentially. The evil Miles becomes Spider-Man in that dimension, essentially,
Nah,
or
they're never
something
gonna
like that.
do that.
Literally,
No, the way
I
they
wish
I
they
just
took risks in here, you know.
they're not gonna take any big risks. I don't think so. Even like for
What
me,
what
like
else
I
could you
thought,
do after this? Do you reckon it'll make a Oh no, I forgot.
what
Oh, the
what
son
did
of a
you think
bitch.
of? Did
Avi Avad did say we're getting a Spider-Gwen animated movie apparently sooner than you think.
Oh wait, no. He
Was an
didn't say
exact quote.
Spider Gwen. He said Spider Woman movie.
No, he meant Spider-Gwen because she's called Spider-Woman in
Yeah,
this
but
thing.
here's the thing: they didn't specify which one. That's the problem.
Oh, so people interpreting that wrong essentially.
Some people might be now. It could be Spider Gwen. I don't know, but I don't know why the fuck he
Right.
would call it
Jesus
Spider
Christ, that
Woman.
is confusing. Which Spider-Woman do you mean, you old fart? Do you mean the one in the animated films, or do you mean the one with Sydney Sweden that you're making right now? With no, wait,
Oh
hang on.
fuck! I just realized something.
That one has Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman, so
No. I just
that's not
realized
technically
what
a Spider-Woman.
no.
Yeah,
I just realized what they could do for like a
yeah.
sequel thing. If like after Spot,
Hmm. They could do
Venomverse,
spin-offs. That's
because that's the thing in the
no,
comics where
no,
all the
no,
Venoms
thank
get
you.
together. Like that would be a
Uh,
thing. All these different versions of Venom are trying to kill all the spiders. That would be a thing they
uh,
would do.
they never do the black suit well, do they? Uh, they always want.
Well,
Like
it's
every
hard to do it
Spider-Man story
well
wants to
after.
rush to that plot element,
It's
essentially.
hard to do that. It's hard to do that suit well when the first fucking version of it was so good. It's just
Mm,
simple, like black suit,
mm-hmm,
beautiful white logo, it's the white eyes, done. You know,
mm-hmm.
but like that's what I'm thinking. Might that would be a thing they would try to do
All right,
for like
I'm
a next
I'm going to Google this Avi Avad.
Venom verse.
No, this Avi Avad tweet that he's teasing Spider-Woman. I
Okay.
reckon that's a tease for a spin-off for Spider-Gwen of Into the Spider-Verse. I can't remember.
Well, I
It
know
might
that
be on
there's Well, I know
because
that
recently, like, thingy Amy Pascal and Avi Avad went on like a rampage on answering questions essentially, and one of those
yeah,
things
because
was essentially that
there's a
piece of
lot of
information.
there's a lot of spider things in the works because
Hmm.
they have the Craven film, they have
Uh, can't wait for that.
the they have the Silk series on Amazon. There's also
What wasn't that written by someone I can't remember?
I
Someone
don't
experienced. Can't remember. Crap, I
I
forgot.
can't
I could.
remember off the top of my head, but I
Hmm,
know that there's a Spider-Man War without Peter in that one for some reason,
nice.
and then there's
Uh, was that live action or the animated thing?
I think it might be live action. I think I don't
Okay.
know.
Why?
I just know.
Like literally, as soon as they did like Venomverse, and then they announced like Spider-Man and shit. Like there was like this one friend of mine who said, "Why don't they just do a live-action Spider-Man 2099?" Obviously, it's not connected to the MCU Spider-Man because it's in the future, and that'd be easier to explain to normies. Like that'd be a very simple thing to do. There's a lot you could do with that, and I can't really disagree if Sony really wants to, but they're choosing stupid characters like freaking Spider-Woman and what's the wrestler that they're doing now that they
Yeah,
delayed and
okay.
canceled now?
The wrestler thing is really stupid. Like, I
What
don't mind if they do.
what was its name though? I can't remember now.
I don't know his
The
name,
wrestler El Macho or something. I can't remember.
but like, I
I
don't
can't
mind
remember.
when they do stuff like, oh, we're gonna give Silk a series. It's like, okay, that's fine. I like
I
that
mind.
character.
I don't like. Burn it all down. That's what happened with the Spider Verse. I don't like other Spider-Man characters. I'm sorry, but I just see it as
This is very this is very difficult to be a fan in these circles, because if you say you like one of these characters that everyone fucking hates with a
All right,
passion,
all right.
they look at you sideways, my guy.
Lego Spider-Man, that's acceptable. Silk,
Oh, so you
freaking Ben Riley,
you would clap for a
throw it in
fucking
the
Lego
trash.
Spider-Man movie,
Yes,
wouldn't you?
yes,
You fucking
yes.
you
I would.
sell out.
You goddamn right. I would clap
Yeah, like Lego
my ass
Spider-Man,
and cheeks
Lego Spider-Man.
for Legos. Yes, I would.
Yeah, get
I
that
would.
get that
I would-
14-year-old in here, like fucking make him do that whole thing for like 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely. I'd pay good money to see a live action Lego Spider-Man. I would. I can't deny it. But yeah, I just see Silk, Ben Riley, Miles. You see, the more characters there are, I just call it. I call it. I should have a title of this: the Spider Inflation, or the Multiversal Inflation, where there's so many versions of a certain character that it essentially devalues the original, essentially, and it becomes worthless. Kind of like in the inflation crisis we are in now. And I think, for instance, DC did Infinite Crisis, right?
Well, yeah, that
Where
was
they
more.
killed off multiversal characters. They
Yeah,
should
that
do the
was.
same thing for the Spider-Verse. There's too many. Just get rid of freaking Sun Spider where she's on a crutch. You don't
There
need
was
a
a reason
freaking Sun
for
Spider.
there was a reason for Infinite. It was not just like, oh, we need
Mm.
to trim the fat of characters. It was like it is getting too goddamn confusing to to our readers of what's the proper continuity. So they just had that to trim the fat off everything and then just go like, this is the continuity. And that's kind of essentially what it does whenever they do like these big gigantic multiversal events. It's just to help reset things to like the to status quo, which makes things way more harder to get into if you're a newbie to comics, because it's like, well, which one am I gonna which one to start with? It's like, well, you could read Batman #1 from 2008 or 2022 or 1988 or some shit like that. It's like, meanwhile, you got manga that's just like, read it issue 1 and then done. That's just the thing. Now, I get what you're saying, like the watered down thing. I think it's for me. My only issue is like when it gets to be like too focused on like the multiverse stuff, when it's like we're like 800 like other spider people from other worlds. It's like, that's it. It's like for me, it's like Peter is the GOAT. Simple as that. Ben Riley, I'm fine with him. Kane,
Fuck Ben Riley.
Whatever.
Sorry,
I'm
but
fine
keep
with
going.
I'm fine with Ben Riley and Kane. Jessica Drew, the OG Spider Woman. I'm fine with her. Julie Carpenter.
Black Mage coming in here. El Muerto. Yes, that was the name. Stupid. Yeah, go. Sorry, go on.
Jessica Drew. I really like Jessica Drew, the actual classic Jessica Drew, the red and the yellow suit. Freaking Julie Carpenter. I could give her. I could take it or leave it. Honestly, don't really care too much. If she's Madam Web, I could be totally fine with that, because then you could do fun stuff there. Then like freaking Silk, I'm more than fine with, because I actually like her. She's a good character, interesting character. She just has to be written by anyone that's not Dan Slott.
Yeah.
Miles. Miles is just
No. By the way, I told you. Animated.
Okay, you said animated Spider Woman. It does not specify which Spider Woman though.
They probably, the old part probably means Spider Gwen. All right, so let's read through this article. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse finally hits theaters. Producer Amy Pascal says a Spider-Woman and live-action Miles Morales. That's gonna be great. Are in the works. You'll see all of it. She told me Tuesday. Yeah, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse premiere in Los Angeles. It's all happening. Producer Avi Avad teased that moviegoers will see a Spider-Woman movie sooner than you expect. He doesn't clarify here whether it's the animated one or the. Okay, so Variety could be interpreting it wrong. Hang on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It could be anyone.
Wait, what
For
do you
all we know,
mean?
it's
The
not.
fuck do you mean? Old
Yeah,
part. What? Clarify.
yeah. For all we
Are these reporters not geeks like any at all? And a woman. All right.
Well, for all we
Uh,
know, here's the thing. It's they say animated Spider-Woman movie, right?
oh wait,
That's
wait,
all
wait,
we
wait,
know.
wait, wait. It sure sounds like Haley Steinfeld, is up for a standalone Spider-Woman movie. Okay, that's her. That's her quote. But is that related to what Abby? That is confusing. For fuck's sake, have different names for these freaking. If the old part said Spider
That's why
Gwen.
they see. That's the see. That's why they wound up. That's why they changed it to like Ghost
Hmm.
Spider, so that way they could give her a different name.
No, that's stupid as well, because that's the name of Ghost Rider Spider-Man. Ghost Spider. So
Well,
that's essentially a rip-off name of that character, and they just pasted it onto Spider-Gwen. I am going to call her Spider-Gwen because that is exactly what she is, and it underlines her meaninglessness as a spider character, essentially. It's stupid. And
yeah. Well,
yeah, Avi
but
Avad, I
we don't
call him
know
an
what.
old fart. He's an idiot. You know, he's
Well, yeah, he is. Like all we know is that this is a animated Spider-Woman movie. We don't even know if it's like a spin-off of
yeah.
Spider-Verse
We
or if
don't
it's
know if he means the live-action Spider-Woman movie or the animated Spider-Woman movie that was into the. You just don't know. You don't know. What does
well,
it mean? No one knows.
obviously, yeah, I don't know. It's
This is confusing me as well. Spider-Man Across the Spider. No, there's no good clarification here.
well, of course
It
not.
seems the
It's
reporter got is like nerd cred wrong, essentially. Yeah. This could either read as okay, they're doing the Spider-Gwen thing, or the reporter who wrote this misinterpreted it wrong because he's not very knowledgeable on Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen, and they're just assuming that it's Haley Steinfeld's movie. That could be a case. Oh, that's just confusing, man. That's really stupid. Let me just switch back to the picture. Anyway, so Spider-Gwen movie, maybe or maybe not in the works. Who knows? I don't want one. Kill her off into the Beyond Spider-Verse, please.
they're not going to do it.
They might do. Remember there was a poster of her like falling and Miles
No,
catching
no,
her.
no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's just too much. She's too merchandisable.
Really? How so?
Of course.
I mean, okay, yeah, costume. That's all she is. She has a cool costume. That's it.
She's
Really,
costume and merchant figures that sell. Okay, she's not like Kamala Khan. Like people actually give a sort of a shit about this character.
Screw Spider-Gwen though. Just
I know,
stupid.
but
It's
that's
stupid.
that's the hard reality thing though. They're not
Mm,
gonna kill her off because she actually makes money.
mm.
Unlike Kamala Khan, who they just have to kill off in someone else's book.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was.
They
Kind of...
baited us, by the way, into like thinking that it was MJ that was gonna die in that comic as well.
Oh my, yeah, it's just Kamala Khan died because she shapeshifted into Mary Jane, and I found out
Yeah.
apparently that's not a thing
Mhm.
Kamala Khan could do anymore. She only did that in her
What?
first. Yeah, Kamala Khan can't
Interesting.
shapeshift anymore. That was not a thing anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, because when she first appeared, she was shapeshifting herself to look like Carol Danvers in her Miss Marvel costume. And then
Oh.
eventually she got caught, and then something happened that where she couldn't do that shape-shifting trick anymore. So
Mhm.
this was not something she was supposed to be able to do anymore. So it just seems like
Mhm.
the Zeb Wells, all he did was like Google like some abilities that she had, looked at the wiki and just went, "Oh, shapeshifting, I could totally use that." It's cool. And
Yeah.
apparently, the leak of it happened because some of the Miss Marvel creators and writers found out about this and they leaked it out.
Okay, that makes
Yeah, so
sense.
it got
Have
dicey
you ever heard that
back behind the
before?
scenes.
Like a character being killed off in like Spider-Man had nothing to do with Miss Marvel.
No,
Not
and
really.
here's the thing: it's not the right Spider-Man. The only Spider-Man that Kamala was ever hanging out with was fucking Miles, and he's not even in
Oh,
this book.
that's interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. The thing I wanted to raise up as well is like yeah, it'll be a good year since the next one is. Do you reckon you'll see that as well? And do you think it'll probably have a longer runtime as well, or?
I mean, if it's gonna follow the same trick as this one, it'll probably be like a
Mm,
2 hour movie, I'd imagine, because
mhm,
uh, not only just because 2 hour movie to match it, but it's also become the trend nowadays. Like with
mm.
it seems like a lot of movies these days are now hitting that like 2 hour mark, which is like
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I guess like I'll probably see the next part. I'd be interested to see if they take risks. Overall, I think I think this is a good movie. Um, but there's again there's caveats. Depends what they do in the next one. I can't really. I'm right now as it stands. I'm thinking of giving it a 7. If they take some risks in the next one, definitely giving it an 8. If they don't, probably giving it in a 6 out of 10 score. But I think there's some quality writing in here. Certainly better than your MCU sludge. I still don't like Miles. Still don't like Ben Riley. Still don't like the Spider Verse. But yeah, I have to. When there's good writing in films, I kind of had to admit to it, even though however much I won't like it, I still have to be truthful about it. Like yeah, there was good stuff here, even though some Twitter people might say it's the best movie ever, is the best Spider-Man ever. Like, hello, Spider-Man 2 exists. Uh, uh, there was a question posed to me: is No Way Home or Into the Spider-Verse better? And I thought,
No Way Home.
yeah, probably. But the thing is, I know which one I'd prefer. No Way Home, definitely, because it has Toby. You can't beat my man Toby. But I think on the writing, I'll probably this because No Way Home kind of screws with Doctor Strange like a bunch, and the multiversal thing doesn't really make all that much sense, really. But then again, No Way Home does some real great character stuff, like with Andrew Garfield, catching Zendaya. I'm not gonna call her MJ; she is an
Yeah.
MJ.
No, and it took risk
Yeah,
because it's like
like
it was
wiping out
so
his memory. Yeah.
yeah, it was so easy for them to just like be like, okay, we're gonna bring Toby and Andrew in for a cameo and they call it a day. No, they
Hmm.
were actual characters in the movie, and they
Hmm.
did a lot of groundwork to make Andrew Garfield like really good, and it like demonstrated like, oh, Andrew Garfield can be a good Spider-Man. You just need someone
Hmm.
that could actually write a fucking script,
Yeah.
you know.
And
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 then like,
definitely No Way
and they
Home
kill off
had the
Aunt
better
May,
villain, I think.
which is
Yeah.
like
Yeah, oh yeah,
bold.
definitely.
It's bold,
Exactly.
and they make and it really cemented in like oh shit, like Green Goblin is a fucking terrifying threat, you know. And
Although Spot was great in here, I think you can't really beat William Dafoe's Green Goblin. You can't really. I think
no,
he still
and
has
I love
he still has the
yeah
crown of the top tier villain. But Spot
yeah
maybe like he's definitely in the top 5 in here.
yeah like
He was pretty good.
Spot is good for like the animation stuff, but it's like live action
Hmm.
thing. It's like you can't really beat
Mm.
Defoe.
Yeah, you can't face Dafoe. Uh, as uh the pun intended in there, of course. There was something I wanted to add, but I completely slipped my mind when you were talking about something completely. Like, it was a good point as well, and I just completely forgot about it. I think it was something about the Sonyverse, but I can't remember it for the life of me anymore. Yeah, I wanted to add to, like, do you reckon they'll have the black suit in Secret Wars? By the way,
Oh,
in
Secret
in
Wars.
yeah, in the MCU film.
Well,
That's
here's
something
the
I've been
thing.
debating. Because, with the whole Venomverse thing, that even it was featured in this movie, so I'm like,
I don't
I'm
know.
just thinking about the way they go around it.
Secret Wars is gonna be like they're. It's just. I don't think if they did have Spider-Man in it, it'll probably be like just. Probably be just like Tom Holland. Maybe they might snag Andrew Garfield or freaking Tobey Maguire. They'll get them in, but it'll be
Mhm.
focused on like other stuff. Like it'll probably be like you'll get Nick Cage Ghost Rider, or you'll get
Oh yeah.
you get the Fantastic Four from the 2004 movie. Like Chris
Mhm.
Evans Human Torch or something like that, or like you'll get like some, or you'll get David Hasselhoff like Nick Fury or some shit.
Mhm.
It'll be
That'd
something
be funny.
ridiculous, or they'll do something kind of like what they did with Multiverse of Madness, with how they used
Mm.
a fan cast of
Yeah.
Reed Richards. They'll probably do
Yeah.
something really crazy, like, oh, here's this other actor we were gonna totally have for we
His
thought
Ben
about having
Affleck Daredevil. Yeah.
Ben Affleck Daredevil. Although I don't know if he'd come back for that.
I have all
Just
this money. Yeah. The thing is that bugs me is Michael Waldron is writing it, which is. But then again, the Kang Dynasty writer, he quit, and this was before the writer's strike. So
yeah, well,
that's making me a little optimistic towards
I'm a
Michael
little
Waldron saying bye bye as well.
I mean, I would definitely be totally fine with Waldron leaving because I don't like the writing in a lot of these movies these days. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, the writer's strike is just a blessing in disguise because it's nature is healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll get to our scores. I guess for me, 7 out of 10, but like a subject to change. A 7 out of 10 because it could go
Five
either
out of
way in the
10.
second movie because this is a incomplete movie. I guess 5 out of 10 is fair because you got a half of a movie in here, so it's only fair you give it half of a score. Essentially.
No. I'm not giving it. I'm not giving it no leeway just because it's a part one, part two thing. No.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Infinity War and
Well,
Endgame were part one and
yeah,
part two, but Infinity War at
yeah,
least had a fucking complete system. I at least got to have a third act. I didn't get
yeah.
a third act in this movie, so they
Would
can
you
fuck right off.
consider giving it a higher score once the second one comes out and takes
Nope.
risks in character
Nope.
deaths?
No.
No?
This movie it was released on its own. It has to
Mhm.
stand on its own merits.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let it does not get to mooch off of its like sequel to like try to make it better. No.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna subject to change
So you're
it
gonna
there.
okay. So you'll give it the other movie like a different
I
score.
will give it its own thing. If it does
Okay.
well, it will do
Fair.
well. If it's
Fair.
this is straight up 5 out of 10 because you didn't give me a third act. There was a lot that you could cut out, like all the Miles and his mother's scenes were there. Like, yeah, the story was pretty decent for like some of the writing bits, some of the jokes that
The animation was gorgeous as well, by the way.
Animation was really nice, although there were just moments where it just like gets a little too crazy, like overloads your brain. You're just like, holy shit.
Did you hear about by the way, there's some sound mixing kerfuffle going on with cinemas. Apparently people are not hearing the drums at the very beginning that Gwen plays.
Honestly, I'm surprised anyone could hear anything if when they're not having an epileptic seizure during that first 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, on a technical level, yes, it's very nice. It's very stylistic. It's very enjoyable.
And I think on a technical level, writing-wise, I think it's good. But I just don't like Miles, and Spider.
Yeah,
People.
Miles
That's
is not
my
really
thing.
a character I I prefer characters like Peter and Miguel and Ben Riley and even Gwen. I liked a little better than I did fucking Miles. You know, like, and then there's like all the other stuff that just kind of makes no sense, like the pregnant Jessica Drew thing.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck was
Why do you
that?
remind me about that? Ugh. All right. I guess we'll do outros now that we've gotten scores. Berg, would you like to tell the people where they can find you? By the way, I've linked Mr. Berg's social media links all in the descriptions. So
Yeah, thank you. I'm Mr. Bug. You can find me on Twitter. That's usually where I'm hanging around when I'm talking about stuff like Spider Verse and sharing Captain Jack Sparrow clips of said movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
so you'll probably find me there talking about that or talking about Punisher anime or some shit like that. Uh, I'm trying to work on a video for my YouTube channel at the moment. It's just a lot of roadblocks in the way. But yeah, that's about all I got.
yeah. I know that I'm probably killing my subscriber feed, essentially a growth on the channel by doing these live streams. Uh, it's the only thing that I can for sure do on these Sundays, and I know people watching that. I don't know that they kind of expect meme videos from my channels, you know, and I promise I'll get to it. Um, I hope that these streams might provide something of interest to you guys. I know you're here mainly for memes. I know that, but I hope to do other content other than just memes, and yeah, yeah, seeing that subscriber count go down sometimes, I'll keep tracking with the regular live streams, but new content will be coming out, meme videos and reviews and whatnot. That's the plan for the future of the channel. And I know I'm kind of messing up. Uh, I'm just, I know like live streams mess up growth, but I do enjoy them, and I haven't enjoyed the conversations having them with you, Mr. Boone. Thanks for coming on again on the show to discuss a shit ton about Spider-Man. Maybe too much, to be honest. But for me, there's never enough. There's never too much talk about Spider-Man. But yeah. I can't make any promises on videos. They do take me a while to make. But I there'll be a meme video soon. Yeah, that's what I'll say. That's how I'll tease it. Yeah, and do check me out on the Legion of Memers channel. I'm a regular host in there as well. On Saturdays around the same time as this stream, I think. Maybe an hour later. Yeah, that's I think all I have to promote. Thank you everyone for watching. I guess I'll see you all guys later. Bye.